String algae can be a stubborn adversary in a pond. So I wanted to test some methods of algae control, and to do my little experiment, I raided Mrs. Ozpond's pantry and commandeered some jars for my experiment. But if you're new here and you don't know me, my name is Kev, and the aim of my channel is to help people build and maintain a pond without spending a fortune. If that sounds like something that interests you, you might like to subscribe and visit my website ozponds.com for lots of helpful guides and useful products. I filled each of the jars with some pond water from my courtyard pond. This is a well-established pond, it's about 6 years old. So I have 9 jars and I'm going to try 8 different things. One of the jars will be a control and stay as it is, just pond water and the algae. I collected some very stubborn string or hair algae. I'm not sure exactly what genre or species, there are many different types of algae, but this one turns up in my ponds from time to time, and I've noticed that it can survive quite well in shaded ponds. This makes it perfect for my experiment, as people like to say that algae won't grow in the shade. Well, this stubborn species does. I think hair algae describes this one quite well. It's stronger than other types of algae I deal with, and it has a rather tough texture. If you think you may know what it's called, let me know in the comments, I'd love to know. Anyway, I placed a small amount into each jar. I didn't weigh it or anything. This isn't an experiment for a scientific paper, it's just a bit of fun. So there they were, my various jars waiting for my experiments. I put them on my kitchen windowsill. It's out of direct sun, but it gets plenty of light. One of the jars was quick to get separated from its buddies, as it was going on to the other side of the house in deep shade. As I mentioned, a common algae remedy is said to be shade. My initial thought is that it won't beat this algae, but we will see. This is my control jar. It has nothing added to it apart from the algae. There might have been some beneficial organisms inside the pond water and on the algae, but all the other jars got the same anyway. Next was a jar with plants. Plants are also said to eliminate algae, as they'll outcompete the algae for nutrients. Again, I'm skeptical. The pond I pulled these from already had some algae in it. The plants I'm using are hornwort and red leaf floater. Both will grow very fast if there's adequate nutrients. Next I took some substrate from the same courtyard pond as I used to fill the jars. The idea here is that the substrate will provide surface area for beneficial bacteria to grow on, and because it's from a seasoned pond, it'll speed up the whole process. Again, I'm a bit skeptical as there's no running water, no direct filtration, and the only oxygen exchange will be from the algae and the very limited water movement inside the jar. Next I grabbed some shrimp. Shrimp are known to eat algae. I also wanted to add some snails, but I was worried about the amount of air available in my little jars, so I left them out. I do wish I set up another separate jar for snails, but by this stage Mrs. Ozpond had caught me with all her jars, and my supply was cut off. The shrimp I was a bit more hopeful with, but we'll see. In the next jar I added liquid bacteria. This is kind of like the substrate, but bacteria supplements are going to be much more concentrated, and they're often touted as a natural remedy for algae blooms. Again, I'm a bit skeptical, as I have an on-again, off-again relationship with these bacteria products. I believe the best thing you can do is optimize your biological filtration, and then you should be able to grow your own bacteria and not need to rely on bacteria supplements. The next jar was the addition of some diatomics. This is a product that promotes the growth of diatoms. Diatoms are another type of algae. The idea here is that the diatoms use the nutrient the hair algae would otherwise use and starve it out. Next was sodium percarbonate. This is something I've used before, and it definitely kills algae. As it breaks down in the water, it creates hydrogen peroxide and sodium carbonate. Hydrogen peroxide is a strong oxidizer. It basically can break down organic material, like our algae. As it does this, it releases oxygen, and this can also be of benefit as it supercharges biological processes like the bacteria. I've made videos on sodium percarbonate and hydrogen peroxide in the past, so I'll link them in the description. And in the last jar, I added copper-based algaecide. This is also something I've experimented with in the past, and I'm very confident that this is going to kill the algae. However, copper-based algaecides are something that I never use in my ponds anymore. as they're going to kill your snails, shrimp, and tiny beneficial organisms, anything that has an exoskeleton or a shell. Now that all the treatments were in, I just left them to see what happens. Already on the next day, it looked like the algaecide was already having an effect. The algae in that jar looked quite bleached. In the sodium percarbonate jar, I was surprised to see that the algae wasn't bleached already. This is what I expected. There was plenty of oxygen in the water, and the algae had floated to the surface, but it wasn't dying like I expected. The jar that had the bacteria added also had lots of oxygen, and the algae was also at the surface. In all the other jars there was no change, so back to waiting. On the second day, it did look like there was less algae in the shrimp jar. By the third day, something was definitely going on in the plant jar. The algae had pretty much disintegrated. It was like in a powder form. Like I said at the start, one of the plants that I chose was hornwort because it's supposedly a natural algae suppressant, and while this looks very promising, the algae in the bacteria jar was also certainly reducing in size. The jar with the sodium percarbonate was now doing what I expected. And it's hard to tell here on the footage, but the algae in the algaecide had now gone quite brown, and I'm pretty sure it's dead. In the rest of the jars there was no change, and if anything the algae may have grown, or maybe it just seems that way after seeing the clear decline in the jars that I just showed. By day 6, the jar with the sodium percarbonate, the algae was all but gone, just clear water and this tiny slither of green. The bacteria jar, which looked very promising at the start, but by day 6 I wasn't seeing a great deal of change. It looked the same as it did from the day 3 mark. The plant jar had definitely worked. There was just the fine powder and no stringy algae left at all. The control jar was about the same as it was at the start, although I think it was starting to grow another species of algae on the top. I think over the 6 days there's been a slight decrease in the substrate jar. The shrimp jar is pretty much the same. If they are eating it, it seems to be growing just as fast as they're eating it. With the diatomics, there was maybe a slight decline in the amount of algae. It certainly didn't appear to be getting any worse. The algaecide had definitely killed the algae, but it still remained intact. The jar in the shade looks about the same, although I'm pretty certain there's no new growth, so that's something, although the algae was still looking quite vibrant. So after 6 days, I think it's pretty clear that the sodium percarbonate was the most effective at eliminating all the algae, because not only did it kill it, but it basically vaporized it into nothing. It is an oxidizer after all. The plants were also incredibly effective, and it's going to be interesting to see if the dead algae dust completely vanishes, or it just remains as a layer of sediment on the bottom of the jar. The algaecide was also very effective, but I think you'd need to then re-add bacteria. The algae's clearly dead, but it's still intact, and that makes me think that all the other life has ceased to exist inside the jar. If there was life, like bacteria and other organisms, I'd expect them to be breaking down the dead algae the same way that they break down a dead leaf in a healthy pond. The other methods may be having some effect, but it just takes longer. They at least aren't growing other types of algae like the control jar is. I will keep the jar set up for a full month, and if anything significant happens, I'll do an update video. So when I build my ponds, I like to have substrate, plants, lots of various animals and organisms from bacteria, fungi, some algae, daphnia, shrimp, snails, fish, and of course good filtration. For me, that's almost always a bog filter. Over time, this filtration and food web becomes self-sustaining, and it makes it really hard for any one organism to become dominant, which of course includes algae. If you want to download the blueprint that I use to design and build a cheap filtration system that is low maintenance and effective, you can find that over at Ozponds.com. It's now helped thousands of people all over the world. Building and maintaining a pond doesn't need to be expensive. Once you get the basics, it's really easy and really rewarding. Anyway, I hope this video was useful. If you enjoyed it, you might like to watch this one next. Thanks for watching. See ya.